Have you ever wondered what lies behind a woman's smile? What secret dream does she hide even from the man she loves most? Every woman carries a hidden fantasy, a dark fantasy, one she will never openly confess. And yet, if you understand it, you unlock the deepest parts of her heart. This is not about lust, not about riches, not even about the charm of beauty. It is something older, something timeless, something Marcus Aurelius himself, the great Stoic Emperor, would have recognized. Today we will uncover that secret. We will enter the hidden world of women's desires, and we will see how the wisdom of Stoicism reveals not only the truth of love, but the kind of man a woman dreams of when no one is watching. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand this secret, you will never see women or yourself the same way again. Picture a woman walking confidently through the world. She laughs with friends. She argues with colleagues. She makes decisions, pays bills, and appears independent. To the outside eye, she is strong, untouchable, unshakable. But here's what most men miss. Strength can be a mask. When she closes the door of her room at night, when the makeup is washed away and the smile fades, there is another version of her. A version that longs for something she cannot admit. Her fantasy is not to be the strong one. Her fantasy is to stop being strong. The truth is, she dreams of a man who is so steady, so composed, that she can finally collapse into him without fear. A man who does not demand her strength, but allows her to set it down. This is her dark fantasy, a fantasy of surrender without danger. Most men don't see this. They think women crave chaos, that women want the bad boy, the rich man, the handsome rebel who lives on the edge. So men chase illusions. They show off. They talk loudly. They throw money, muscles, and arrogance into the world. But what does she feel? Emptiness. Because none of that creates safety. And safety, my friend, is the soil where her hidden fantasy blooms. She does not crave drama. She craves peace. She does not crave arrogance. She craves presence. She does not crave control. She craves a man who controls himself. And this is where Stoicism enters the story. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, surrounded by wars, betrayal, and constant danger, wrote these words in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Think about this. The man who commands armies, the man who rules the largest empire on earth, admits he controls nothing outside himself, only his own mind. And that is exactly what women long for. Her dark fantasy is not a man who conquers the world. It is a man who has conquered himself. Imagine a battlefield in ancient Rome. The clash of swords, the dust of trampled earth, the cries of fear. Men run, men panic, men scream. But one soldier stands still, calm, unmoving. He does not shake. He does not cry. He does not rush blindly into chaos. He simply stands, breathes, and waits. That man becomes a pillar. The storm rages around him, but within him, silence. This is the man a woman secretly dreams of, not because he is the strongest with his sword, but because he is strongest with his mind. So let us uncover the psychology behind this. Why do women hide this fantasy? Why do they never admit it? Because to reveal it would be dangerous. She fears being judged. She fears being abandoned. She fears being mocked for her softness. And yet deep inside her fantasy grows. She longs to stop performing strength. She longs to cry without shame. She longs to feel the embrace of a man, so grounded that her weakness is safe in his presence. This is her forbidden dream, to rest in the arms of a stoic man. Modern men misunderstand power. They think power is in shouting louder, in making more money, in dominating conversations. But true power is quieter. It is in self-control. It is in the man who does not need to raise his voice. It is in the man who does not panic when life turns dark. This is the paradox. The man who does not chase women becomes the man women chase. The man who does not try to control her becomes the man she longs to surrender to. Because control of the world is an illusion. Control of yourself is real. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is the calling of the Stoic man. Not to argue, not to prove, but to be. When you live like this, you do not need to tell a woman you are strong. She feels it. In your silence, in your patience, in your calm when the world is shaking. And in that calm, her dark fantasy awakens. Let's step out of Rome and into today. Imagine a modern couple. She comes home exhausted from a long day at work. The world has been cruel, the boss ungrateful, the stress heavy. She slams the door. She wants to scream. And many men would argue back. They would add fire to her fire. They would lose patience, but not the Stoic man. He listens. He does not panic. He does not fight her storm. He becomes the stillness she collapses into. And in that stillness she finds what she secretly longed for all along: safety, peace, the freedom to stop being strong. Scene 9, the first reveal of the fantasy. So now we can name it clearly. Her dark fantasy is not about danger, not about wealth, not about passion alone. It is about surrender. The surrender of her strength to a man strong enough to carry it. The surrender of her fears to a man calm enough to absorb them. The surrender of her heart to a man who never breaks under the weight of life. This is what she dreams of. This is what she hides. And this is what Stoicism prepares you to become. Transition to part 2. But here's the deeper truth: not every man can become this, because it requires a battle fiercer than any fought in Rome. It is the battle inside yourself. Against fear, against jealousy, against the wild animal of emotion that lives within every man. Only when you conquer this inner battlefield can you embody the man she secretly fantasizes about. And in the next part of this story, we will enter that battlefield together. We will see how Marcus Aurelius himself faced betrayal, loss, and temptation, yet remained unbroken. We will see the Stoic practices that forged unshakable men, and we will see how you can live those practices today, so that you become not only desirable but unforgettable. Stay with me, because the journey has only just begun. Every man dreams of victory, but most men fight the wrong battles. They fight for money. They fight for recognition. They fight to be seen as powerful. But the truest battle, the one Marcus Aurelius fought every day, was not against Rome's enemies. It was against himself. And this is the very same battle you must fight. If you want to awaken the dark fantasy women secretly carry, Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth. Yet his life was filled with storms. His empire was at war on nearly every border. A plague spread across Rome, killing thousands every day. His wife was rumored to betray him. His most trusted general turned against him. Imagine this. Everywhere he looked, enemies rose. Every day, death knocked on the doors of his people. Every night he went to sleep knowing tomorrow could bring collapse. Yet through it all, Marcus wrote words that still inspire us. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is not the voice of a broken man. This is the voice of a Stoic, and this is the voice that women long to hear in a man's presence, not through speeches, but through his very being. Now let's bring this back to you. Most men don't realize it, but women test them every single day. Not always consciously, not with words, but with small storms, a sudden mood swing, a burst of anger, a moment of silence where she watches how you react. Why does she do this? Because her secret fantasy is safety, and safety can only be trusted when tested. If you panic, argue, or break down when her emotions flare, she knows. This man cannot hold me. He cannot carry my storm. But if you remain calm, if you listen without fear, if you are the eye in her hurricane, then something changes. Her dark fantasy awakens. Her armor begins to crack, and for the first time, she feels she has found the man she can collapse into. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be like the rock against which the waves crash. It stands firm and the raging of the sea falls still around it." This is the essence of the man women dream of. Not the man who fights her waves, not the man who runs from them, but the man who stands like the rock, still, grounded, unmoved. In the presence of such a man, she can finally let the waves inside her crash without fear of destroying him. And that is when her hidden desire to rest, to surrender, to be soft comes alive. Let me give you a modern example. A woman named Sarah spent her whole life being the strong one. She worked long hours, paid her own bills, smiled even when her heart was breaking. Every man she dated wanted her strength. They leaned on her. They admired her independence. But deep inside, Sarah felt exhausted. Until one night, after a particularly brutal day, she broke down in front of the man she was dating. She cried, ashamed of showing weakness. Most men she had known would have tried to fix it. "Don't cry. Stop worrying. It's not a big deal." But this man was different. He didn't rush. He didn't lecture. He simply listened, calm, steady, present. When she looked into his eyes, she realized something extraordinary. Nothing she said could shake him. Nothing she felt could scare him away. And in that moment, Sarah experienced her dark fantasy. For the first time in her life, she felt safe enough to let go. Now here's the truth most men don't want to hear. They fail not because they aren't rich enough, not because they aren't handsome enough, not because they aren't charismatic enough. They fail because they are not grounded. They let emotions control them. They let anger dominate them. They let insecurity eat them alive. And women sense it instantly. Because deep down, every woman is searching for one thing: a man who does not collapse when she does. That is her dark fantasy. To be free to collapse in the arms of a man who never will. So how do you become that man? The Stoics left us practices, simple, powerful, timeless. 1. Negative visualization. Every morning imagine loss. Imagine failure. Imagine betrayal. Not to suffer in advance, but to prepare your mind. When the storm comes, you will not be surprised. So 2. Control the breath. In chaos, breathe slowly. As Marcus wrote, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. A calm breath leads to a calm mind. 3. Detach from outcome. Focus only on what you control: your mind, your choices, your actions. Everything else, praise, rejection, love, loss, is beyond you. 4. Daily reflection. At night, write, where did I lose control today? Where did I stand firm? Every day becomes a training ground for your inner strength. These practices shape a man who cannot be moved. And that man is the one who awakens her deepest desire. If a woman could confess her dark fantasy without shame, here's what she would whisper. I want to stop being strong. I want to stop fighting. I want a man whose calm is so powerful that I can fall apart in his arms and know he will never break. But she will never say this aloud, because the world has taught her to hide it. Yet when she meets a man who embodies stoic strength, she feels it instantly without words. It's in his silence, in his patience, in his refusal to be controlled by anything but his own mind. And suddenly, her fantasy comes alive. Most men think desire is physical, that women fall for looks, wealth, or status. But desire runs deeper. The truth is, desire is psychological. And psychology responds to energy. When a man radiates calm, he becomes magnetic. When he carries peace, he becomes unforgettable. When he cannot be shaken, he becomes irresistible. This is why Stoicism, a philosophy born thousands of years ago, still holds the key to attraction today, because it teaches the one thing women want most yet never ask for: a man who cannot be moved. So now we understand. Her dark fantasy is the freedom to collapse into the arms of a man who never will. But this raises a deeper question. How do you maintain this strength when life itself breaks you? Because make no mistake, life will test you. You will lose people you love. You will face betrayal. You will fail. The true stoic man is not one who never falls. He is one who rises again. Stronger, calmer, wiser. In the next part of this journey, we will explore the hardest trials of Marcus Aurelius, the lessons he carved into his soul, and how those same lessons can make you the kind of man women silently crave. Stay with me, the story deepens.